What was it like, the sleeping conditions over there?
Were you in tents? Were you in...
Yeah, we were in tents, and sometimes we were in mud. I mean, we were always moving so that we didn't have like billets, you know, like take over houses or anything like that. And so you made do. The toughest thing was to have, you know, dry socks or something, you know, to put on. And well, a lot of foot problems, you know, frost bites.
What was your reaction to, where were you, like, for example, you were just telling us you were in Rome during the invasion, the D-Day invasion. Where were you when you heard about, let's say, the Battle of the Bulge?
Well, the Battle of the Bulge was later.
Mm-hmm.
When we got into Rome, we went to they billeted us in the Vatican, you know, in there's a very big grounds around the Vatican, and that's where we set up camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I got blessed by the Pope. As long as I was there, you went into these rooms, you know, full, and they gave you blessed beads, and which I passed on to my wife, who gave it to a Catholic girl that she knew, that she really treasured it, you know. And now, once we were in Rome, we got ready for southern France because we wanted to help send some German troops away from the main front, you know, to draw them down. Mm-hmm. And open up a third front. That's what we wanted to do. And we got hooked up with the same 8th Army, same guys, and we went into southern France. And I went in with the same group I went into Anzio with the 3rd Division, 7th Infantry. Except they were different guys already, because they got the most casualties in the war. The 3rd Division, they lost, let's say there's 15,000 men in a division, they lost like 45,000 men, so that they kept getting replacements.
There were 15,000 at one time.
Yeah, well, 15,000 makes up a full division.
Right, okay.
So
they
like
recycled.
they kept recycling all the people that were killed, you know, or wounded or maimed or whatever. And incidentally, I got to tell you, the 442nd was the Japanese Nisei division. Mm-hmm. I never met more dedicated fighters than those guys. When they came into the tents wounded, and we had them on the tents, as soon as they were treated, they jumped up, if they were able, and went back to their outfit.
Wow.
They refused to quit. They wanted to show that they were just as tough as anybody and loyal Americans. And you got to give them full credit. They really, I think they did get credit after the war. I mean,
right.
But they sure deserved it.
Now, what the whole, I don't know if you don't want to talk about it, I understand, but you got a friend, Harcola.
Oh yeah, well, that was on Anzio.
That was in Anzio?
Yeah. See, he went in with the Rangers. I went in with the 3rd Division, 7th Infantry. He went in with the Rangers, which was a special outfit, like airborne almost. They were killers. And they hit a little town called, let's see what that's here. That's south of Rome. Anyway, they hit this little farmhouse that was full of Germans, and they weren't giving up. And he got hit by a shrapnel shell, and he was killed. I heard that our own men had to put him out of his misery, that he was running around like a chicken with his head cut off. It was like, and Harcola, I might add, he's got to be maybe the best soldier that I ever met in the Army. I mean, that's the kind of guy he was. He was like, all soldier. I I mean, and hot. And he was engaged to a girl. I mean, it was really heartbreaking. I mean, but the war had to go on.
And you liked a particular song, right?
Yeah. What the hell was the name of it?
Stardust.
Stardust?
Stardust.
Yeah.
And Arcola, he was like a all-American football player. I mean, that was his built. He was a real big guy. He came from upstate New York. And it always got his goat that he couldn't get Jimmy Sullivan. He and Jimmy Sullivan used to get into wrestling matches, and little Jimmy would always beat him. He'd get him in a stranglehold.
There was
But they were great friends.
There was also a story about when a fighter, a Canadian fighter jet. Wait, was that Nancio?
Right. Forgot about it. I came back. I went out to with the infantry guys, and I got out about, like I said, I think it was about 8 miles. And they told me, you go back to the beach now and get with your outfit. And I started walking back myself. And on the way, I met a couple of generals that were walking around. And here comes Mark Clark in a Jeep with his generals with him. And I saluted him, he saluted me. And here comes a couple of German planes right down, strafing us. And I almost crapped in my pit. Well, it was pretty hairy, but everybody, the general on one knee, I mean, you couldn't believe the different positions everybody took, because you're not used to that. Anyway, I got back, and they were already unloading ambulances, and Frankie Koshalik was like on a knoll of a hill, and I just happened to walk in that direction, and I recognized him, and he recognized me, and I said, Frankie, I says, what's happening? Where's the rest of the guy? He says, they're all unloading, he said. So I said, all right, come on, let's sit in the ambulance for a minute, you know. And right in the distance, about 300-400 yards, was a farm. It was a barn, and we see a plane circling around. He looked like he's in trouble. It was a Spitfire, Canadian pilot, and he was going to crash land. He came down and crashed right into the barn. It was a stone barn, like, you know, and in a manure field, like where cattle were. I said, Frankie, let's go, you know. So got in the ambulance, we drove down the 200 yards, and some other people came from the other direction, and we saw the pilot. He was hanging out of the cockpit like this. His side of his face was hanging down. Yeah, it was a cockpit. So we pulled him out of the plane, but there's gasoline, you know, fumes all around. Everybody, you know, I happened to be smoking a pipe when I was with Frankie. So of course I put it out.
Yeah.
And we got him out. We got him in Frankie's ambulance, and we drove back to the beach. I put one of those bandages on him and put that sulfur, you know, on the wound. And we got him back to where they were setting up the tent. It was almost completely set up already. And the next day we went to visit to see how he was. And he was a nice guy. I never got his name, but he offered us his flight jacket, and you know, he was so grateful. I don't remember what happened to him. But he must have been the first Allied plane, you know, to crash on Anzio, because it happened that early. Now where am I? We're going to southern France.
Okay, take us to southern France. What happened?
All right. Get to southern France. It's so 2 in the morning. The
What
rockets, we see the...
What time of year is this?
It was in let's see, June? No, it must have been like September, maybe. It wasn't cold. let's see, if they landed June 6th, June, July, it must have been about August that we landed. Because that would have given the Allies time to get in France and give us a chance.
In the northern portion.
So, as we hit the beach, it was, I heard, it was a moon, but there was no lights. But I heard somebody call, "Addy, me boy, Addy!" I kept looking under the dunes. They were doing, these Englishmen that were directing the rockets, the radio men, they were under there, and those guys were on the same ship that I went on in Anzio, you know, and we become friends. So I just dashed over for a second just to see who they were, and they were all waving at me, and the lieutenant grabbed me. He says, "Come on," he says, "you go with me." So I followed him, and we went into the hills, over the dunes, and about a mile in, there's a farmhouse, and they're shooting from the farmhouse at us. And some big Swede, he grabbed me by the back of the neck, and he threw me on the ground. Saved my life, I swear, because I heard the bullets go over my ass. And he said, you know, he says, "You want to watch yourself. You know, you gotta go low, boy." Anyway, I went in with them to a certain point, and then I had to come back and my outfit again, and then and that was, we were on the Riviera. It was but the Germans had already started retreating, and that's when they had our Air Force caught them going up the Rhone Valley. It was Montelamar. It was the biggest slaughter you ever saw. We went up the valley. All you could see was horses with their feet up in the air, dead, you know, carts, money, all kind of German lira and whatever they used for the money, scattered from the payrolls. They had corpses lying. It stunk. You had to actually put a handkerchief over your nose. And it was for miles. They had caught them, you know, retreating, and they just machine gunned the shit out of them. And we went up the Rhone Valley, and we went to Epinal. It was like, it's right near the Alps, Epinal. And then it was already becoming winter. They pulled us back, and we were in Saint-Dié, around Riberville, and the Germans attacked, and they were retreating. Dave and I were sent to replace a couple of wounded guys in their outfit, and any minute the place was going to be overrun by the Germans. And so they were ordered to get all their personnel out, and that patients that could be moved. And the patients that couldn't be moved, you had to have some personnel stay with them, you know, to take care of them. Yeah. So Dave and I were sent, and we wanted to just know what, you know, how long we had to be there, or what the status would be. So Dave went to the commanding officer, and I went with him, and he asked for permission to talk to our company commander. And this doctor, this captain, he said to Dave, "Are you refusing, you know, my order? You know, are you disobeying my order?" "Oh, sir," he said, "I just want permission to talk to my company commander, you know." So he said, "Well, go ahead, use it." And he got a hold of the company commander. The company commander says, "Oh, I know what they're doing," but he says, "There's nothing we could do about it. You stay." So we stayed. And sure enough, we counterattacked and drove the Germans back. We didn't get captured. So they started bringing all the wounded back, you know, so everything worked out. But Dave and I, since then, I mean, we've been like two brothers, I mean, no question about it. Yeah. Although we were friends before that, too.
This is Dave Clemson, right?
Yeah, he's up in Alaska now.
That's the term band of brothers, like.
Yeah, just like
Yeah, you saw that show. I mean, obviously,
Yeah,
a little bit of Hollywood mixed in, but was it real?
No, it was pretty real. It was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How many winters did you live through over there?
Well, I was overseas 2.5 years,
So at least 2 winters.
so I spent at least 2 winters.
And what were the winters like there?
Not as severe as here. I mean, but up in the mountains it was cold, like in the when you were in Italy, like the mountains are cold. You come down, it was a little milder, and southern Italy is balmy up more. You know, it's you got to remember, Italy goes all the way up to the Alps practically. You know, around Austria, around there.
We're getting back to where you're in southern France now. Is this now when the battle for the Argonne Forest is happening in the north?
No, they pull after Riberville and everything. They pull us back for a rest period, and the Battle of the Bulge. My friend Rubenstein comes to visit me. He's in. They made him a lieutenant in on the battlefield. He was a
Commissioned.
tough little bastard. Yeah, they commissioned him on the battlefield. He came to visit me where I was. He heard where the 52nd was, and then he left and went back with his outfit. And I didn't hear from him till the war was over. You know, then he got safely through the Battle of the Bulge. Anyway, it never reached us where we were, and we never got called to replace anybody then. And it was in the middle of the winter, and that's the time we were all sheltered in it was like in a stone house, a big stone house, and they had a big fireplace and it was roaring, and it was Christmas Eve. And McDonald, we had wine we were drinking. And McDonald, he was a funny guy. He was an athlete from Clifton, New Jersey, I think. He was always bragging about his high school football prowess, you know. And the guys used to laugh with him. I mean, he was a funny guy. And he started to do a dance to shuffle off the buffalo, and he was pretty clumsy for a guy. And over a pile of wood, he flopped. It really broke up the whole gang. He was so embarrassed.
Now, being a Jewish person in the army, was there any anti-Semitic sentiment, or was it?
In my outfit, I didn't see hardly any. The only thing I could see was the Southerners stuck together, the Northerners stuck together. I mean, it was they had their clique, and they had their clique. But in other forms of the army, I heard plenty of anti-Semitic things. Anyway, let's see. France. It was time then to go into Germany. You know, the Germans kept retreating, we kept following. And when we got into Germany, I saw the camps. So you don't have to believe it or whatever, but you can take my word for it. It all happened.
Where were?
I went to Dachau, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, inhumanity to man. It's something.
What did you see?
I saw the practically living corpses, and dry-eyed. The kid couldn't even cry. Because there were striped uniforms and checks, and it was a horror. I didn't realize that it happened all over Germany and in Poland and in some parts of Russia, but it did.
You were a medic, so you were one of the first people they allowed in there, right?
Right. Yeah, we went in with the infantry. I just happened to be with an outfit that went in.
I
had one buddy, Gallagher, who had lost a brother who was in the Navy at Anzio, and their ship was it was on an oiler or something, and it blew up and it burned, and he was killed. And Gallagher, so infuriated, he grabbed the gun of an infantryman, and he was going to shoot what was left of a couple of guards, that were there. But they grabbed him, and they didn't let him do it. That was the way it was.
Now they wouldn't allow you to feed them immediately. Was that true? They wouldn't allow you to feed them immediately because the.
No, they were there. I mean, they were just walking around, and of course they were starting to bring in food and help.
Right.
But when the war ended, we were in Ulm, Germany. And the troops began fraternizing, with the German women. And I asked to get out. They sent me to France, and then ran a pro shop until my outfit was ready to go home. And they would, but in the meantime, before the atom bomb dropped on Japan, they were talking about consolidating our outfit and sending us to the Far East. But that was only short-lived. But
were you hearing news about the Pacific Theater while you were?
Yeah, we knew, and I knew Mac was there. He was on Guadalcanal.
Mm-hmm. Mac Sullivan.
Something happened and when we got to Ulm, which was the deepest that we went into Germany, it was a big lake there. It was a resort area. And the fellas jumped in the boats. There were boats all over the place, cruises and little yachts. It was just having a ball, guys that...
Hello.
Hiya, Freddie.
Hey, Fred.
How you doing, Rick? How you doing?
Anyway, but that was short-lived. It was...
Yes, the history?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting my war stories. Anyway, that was about it. Couldn't wait to get home.
So when did you actually leave?
They called me from France, and my outfit got consolidated with other outfits, and they sent it to Le Havre, where we all waited in tremendous lines to get on the boats to go home on Liberty ships. And I got home on the SS Frederick.
Hey.
What was the feeling that you had when you came into New York Harbor? Is that, I assume that's where you came into?
Yeah, we passed the Statue of Liberty. And of course, there were plenty of guys had gotten home ahead of us, so there was no crowd. But they did have boats shoot up
But what
You
was
know,
the feeling that you would? I mean, can you
It was like
describe it?
unbelievable. First of all, half the guys couldn't even get up on deck. They were so goddamn seasick. It was a rough voyage back. The waves were up to the ceiling, I swear. And a Liberty boat is like this. You wouldn't believe how the hell it could even get out of it.
Right.
And I lost my fortune on that Liberty boat. The one turn of the waves, and I lost. Me and another guy had all the money on a boat. We were shooting crap. And the dice turned on the roll of the boat.
Oh God.
Because they gave us 3 months' pay, before we got on the boat. These guys.
And ever since then, it's been downhill.
Speaking about losing your fortune too, you lost a duffel bag of pipes too. didn't
Well,
you?
that was
But
Salerno.
where was that?
Salerno.
Oh man.
Yeah, Aunt Sue sent me Peterson, when she found out. I mean, she saved my life. But when I was in southern France, I got 2 pipes from a guy in Courland. It was a little old French pipe shop, and they made pipes there. That was where they got Briar from, in those days. It was in southern France.
I'm sorry. Speaking of emotion and the fact, a good segue is the fact that today is Thanksgiving. How did it feel during holidays like Thanksgiving or Christmas? Obviously, you didn't celebrate it.
We were pretty inured to that thing. I was anyway inured. I was more. Well, to give you an example, I wasn't that homesick than I was at the futility of this schmucky war. Because I used to come out of the tent where they were working on these wounded in the middle of the night, and the stars are shining in Italy. And I used to look up and say, "What the hell are you doing? I mean, where are you?" I mean, it's like, and that was a feeling that I mostly had, But then again, I was a pretty happy-go-lucky guy the rest of the time with the fellas, and
it was more frustration.
Someday I'll tell you the real story about Patsy the Boner and myself, but I don't want to put it on film because I might embarrass the guy.
I don't think I'll mind.
That's it.
What was the just a couple of quick questions? Where would you say was the worst or most uncomfortable place throughout the entire war for you to stay or to sleep or anything like
Italy.
that? Italy?
Especially the first night that we were going to go into action. I could hear the guns in the distance, and you could see light flashes. It was far away, but you could hear it, and it echoed through the valleys of the hills. And we were in a soccer stadium. It was where we were bedded down, And it was our last night's sleep before we were assigned to all these different outfits. And that, I would say, would be the one night that I didn't even think about getting killed or anything like that. That somehow it didn't enter my mind. I figured, what could you do about it anyway? If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And anyway, I used to see these guys reading these little Bibles and going in, and those are the guys that got hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird.
What about southern France? When you got there, was it a feeling that it was almost over, or was it a feeling that it was just going on and on?
We had a feeling, how long could this last, because the Russians were doing good. I mean, they had knocked the crap out of them at Stalingrad. And, but the Nazis, the real Verbrennt, I knew that if they give up, I mean, they're still going to get punished anyway. They wouldn't give up, so it was a tough fight. Finally, the Russians got into Berlin, and we got into Berlin later.
When you speak about feeling like Forrest Gump sometimes, for example.
Yeah, it's strange because I always met someone that's in the news or that they're making a movie about I just happened to be either a bystander or I saw it, very close up.
What was your reaction when you had the news that they believed that Hitler was dead? I mean,
Oh, I was, yeah. Well,
what was the reaction of the people around you?